Hey guys, I'm Lee from Lee Likes Music, the place to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the Duncan Fellows' newest album, actually their debut full-length album, which is called Both Sides of the Ceiling. So that's coming up. So Duncan Fellows is an indie rock band from Austin, Texas. In early 2016, a journalist from Austinaut.com, a very local blog site, actually interviewed them, and they got some really solid insight into who the band are, who they are, and what they're all about. Can link you to that website below if you want to. Now, they did this interview on the street next to some dumpsters, so it was quite low-key interview. Their demeanor was quiet and unassuming, much like their music at that time, which sounded emotional, harmonious, and gazy. This is, of course, according to the article. Duncan Fellows started while founding members Colin Herman and Colin Trevino both met in the University of Texas. From there, they became this musical grab bag for folk-playing local artists. So they were warming up for all these different artists, and they gained some reputation around town in their community. And although they started out playing folk rock on their first EP, 12 months older, they soon left that for a more indie rock influenced approach on their second EP, which is called Morrow. The article says that there are hints and resemblances of the Smashing Pumpkins and Kings of Leon on this EP, but I personally don't think that is the main inspiration. It actually sounds a bit emo rock-ish, that's at least to me. But nonetheless, Morrow is a very versatile EP. You get all sorts of things on there, and I definitely recommend that you check it out. Now, moving on to the actual album here, Both Sides of the Ceiling. This is actually their first LP album, and they're coming out with a completely different sound on here. What stood out the most to me on here are probably the guitar melodies. They're often layered with this jangly, flangy effect that kind of remind me of something Mac DeMarco could have made. You also get a healthy dose of indie rock and atmospheric soundscapes on here. Stylistically, the band didn't change that much. They're still producing indie rock, but mood-wise, if we compare it to Morrow, for example, this album is a lot more energetic, poppy, and positive compared to that. They've also expanded their instrumental arrangements to include synths. There are even more layers of guitars here at certain times. And in the 8th track, Rosalind, you'll even get meandering, dramatic violins. And because of all these new instruments and the sheer volume of sounds you get here, the sound images become very full and dense. The versatility on this album is on a whole other level, but that might be because this is their first full-length album, and possibly they felt more constricted and more conformed when they did the EP format. Anyway, they're a tad too versatile for my taste, and it makes the album sound a bit of a mess. And it doesn't help when the flow or track listing is weird as well. LSB starts off the album with a very light, dynamic, and nimble passage, and you end up expecting something just as fast and as up-tempo, but instead you're met with this very slow, overly spacious, shoegazy choruses on the next track that become plainly boring and dim. It picks up that fun and kinetic drive on later songs such as Fresh Squeezed, but then again there are other things that I also disliked about this album. For example, I didn't appreciate the crescendos that they build here and there. For example, on the song Cul-de-sac and Rosalind, these are great examples of these crescendos. You'll hear that they build towards these kinetically dense climaxes, but it just gets too noisy and very pushy. All in all, it feels like the band is tipping their toes into unknown waters on this album. Sometimes this turns into very addictive, jangly ear candy-like songs, such as the very lush and classic Sleeper, which is the 6th track. Sometimes they make it very weird and off-putting, like the dynamics on the last track, Can't Keep. I have to admit that it sounds very ambitiously made with all of these juxtaposing segments, but you know, at the same time, it just sounds like that. It sounds like these segments that are forced together. It doesn't sound like one cohesive song. My favorite tracks off of this record are number 4, 5, and 6, Fresh Squeezed, Kerosene, and Sleeper. Those were like a highlight, and I love the fact that they came in the middle of the song. It would have been great to place them in the start as well, but I don't know, I just feel like these tracks just floated into each other. They had a really addictive melody. There was something more to grasp onto, and the band just felt more focused here. If you like Fleet Foxes, if you like Mac DeMarco, you might like this as well because it's a bit similar to those artists. Duncan Fellows, Both Sides of the Ceiling, I'm feeling a 6 out of 10 on this one. If you're going to check out this band, you definitely have to check out their EP, which is called Morrow. It was released in 2015. It's amazing. It's quite different, but I think it's better. I would have given that one a 7 out of 10. Just so you know. So yeah, I think that was it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp, then I highly suggest you click the red subscribe button below. Also make sure you hit that bell icon beside the subscribe button, because in that way you'll always get notified when I upload new videos to this beautiful place right here. Thank you again for watching. Hope to see you later. Bye.